African bush, that buffalo is looking right at you, because this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
And a very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome on the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie. This afternoon I have Viam on camera with me, and we are coming to you live from Djuma, Arathusa, and that sun's very bright, Cheetah Plains Game Reserve in the Sabi Sand in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa. I did not think that through. Now, not only are we live, but we are also interactive, which means that you can send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can email through. Just let me blink away the damage to my retinas. You can email through to questions@WildEarthTV. And now we're going to look back at the buffalo bulls, so that I don't have to blink into the glaring hot African sun. It is another startlingly hot afternoon. It's been an odd October this year in the African Lowveld. It's one of the coldest, I think, on record. And yet today it's skyrocketed up into 36 degrees centigrade, which is 96 degrees Fahrenheit. These buffalo seem to be handling it relatively well, although I'm sure they're thinking quite keenly on the idea of going to find a mud wallow somewhere. That being said, the buffalo of Djuma have been treading particularly, or have to tread particularly carefully at the moment, since the Nkuhumas have made Djuma their home. That is a pride of 5 lionesses and 8 little cubs that they have to keep fed and happy. And they are probably about a kilometre or so north of these buffalo bulls. Oh, and cows, sorry. There's actually 2 lonely cows as part of this herd. I can't tell if this is just the tail end of a larger herd, or if we've just stumbled upon a splinter group that perhaps has been separated from the main breeding herd by the lions themselves. Now, there's a male lion, probably about 500 meters north of where these buffalo herd is going. And that could be interesting, although when I passed him at the end of the sunrise safari, he didn't look as though he was going to be up to terribly much, and as I said, it is very, very hot here. Now, it has been exciting times here on Djuma and, well, actually in the entire northern Sabi Sand over the last 2 days. We had an extraordinary number of cat sightings, and after a prolonged absence of our spotted cats, our leopard characters, they all seem to have made a reappearance at the same time. Is that buffalo wet? Is that mud? Yes, it is mud. Okay, so they have been wallowing in the mud. Must have just come up from twin dams. Yesterday we had a quarantine, the male leopard on a kudu kill, and when Brent returned to him yesterday on the Sunset Safari, he stumbled across a Tandi, the female leopard with 2 tiny little cubs. And then of course Karula's been in the Mwati drainage line with her 2 gorgeous cubs, and we enjoyed an amazing time with them on the sunrise safari this morning. Absolutely stunning light. It really was. I mean, if you missed the sunrise safari, we had the most incredible sighting. They looked as though they had halos, all 3 of them. Truly one of the most beautiful leopard sightings I've ever experienced. I'm on the new road, by the way. There's an obstruction. Oh my goodness gracious. Watch out, Liam. We're going to go rushing up to Buffelshoek Dam, see what's happening there. In the meantime, there is somebody else who would like to say hello. Let's head across to Brent and his trip around Arathusa.
Well, my name's Brent Leo Smith, and I'm living up to the Leo in my surname. We have some lions. Lions that are not the Nkuhuma pride. Shock, horror. We're on a live African safari. And believe it or not, I didn't even know they were here. I was on my way to another surprise when I saw them next to the road. Hello, kitties. I haven't seen you in a long time. You lot have grown up a lot. Naughty boys. Don't look at me like that. Naughty boys. These are not lions we see too often up here in the north. Who can tell me which lions are these? If you know the answer, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or questions at WildEarthTV. Who are these young upstarts? Now, of course, it is the heat of the day. There are 2 lionesses and 3 young males here. There's one of the lioness. And they're looking very hot and heavy. It is, of course, the hottest day of the season so far. And I've been going on about how cool October's been. So October came to say hello. This afternoon it is at 36 degrees Celsius, 92 Fahrenheit, and we are in the sun with that. Oh, I'm not going to tell you, Pride. Well done, Liz. It is indeed the Salala Pride. Oh, forgot my sunglasses on. Naughty Brent. As I said, I didn't know these lions were here when I drove around the corner. Yes, here we go. Salala lions. Lovely surprise. Not what my plan was. I've got another surprise that I'm going to try get to. I'm going to leave these lions now because we'll come back to them. There's going to be a little bit more pressure on the other sighting. So I want to get in there before all the other game drives are out so we can spend as much time as possible with the other surprise. But we will come back to the Tsalalas lions shortly, and I've got lots of stories to tell you about them. Bye, guys. So while we dash off to the next surprise, and it is a real surprise, I would not have dismissed the Tsalalas so quickly if there wasn't something very special down the road. Let's go back to Jamie while I try find the next surprise.
Oh, surprises up everyone's sleeve this afternoon, including for that poor giraffe who just got chased unceremoniously away by a herd of elephants making their way towards the muddy wallows of Baboon Pan, which is to the south of us on Little Gowrie. And on this hot day, yes, you did very well. Well done for chasing the giraffe. You can be very proud of yourself, mister. On this boiling hot day, the elephants in particular will be feeling the heat, so a muddy wallow, or at least a muddy spraying, will be the best way to combat that. I love watching elephants do this. They have such fun spraying the mud up, coating their shoulders. Look at the mud spraying everywhere. Up on its ears, which is of course the best spot to get it, since that is where the skin is the thinnest and the blood vessels closest to the surface. Sorry, distraction in the form of elephants rumbling in all directions. Oh, down, right. None of this trunk nonsense. That's just wasting time. I'm now going to lie flat on my side in the mud. It's the best possible approach. Oh, somebody else is doing it too at the back. Oh, they are having such a ball. And this is where the hot days of Africa are truly extraordinary. One of my favourite things to watch. I always get excited when we go out on a hot afternoon in the hope that we're going to see this. And now look at them. Oh, other side, other side. Got to get a thorough all-round coating. Basically disappearing into the mud or feet kicking. You know, I'm almost tempted to join them. If I hadn't seen in the past what buffalo bulls do in that water, I might consider it, but perhaps not today. Makes for a very good ectoparasite remover, coating the ticks and parasites with mud. Oh, what's wrong? Why'd you chase him away? Little bit of an internal dispute between the members of this herd. Big female stepping forward to chase away another elephant. Oh, what a spectacular scene. and Giraffe have hightailed it out of here. One elephant is trying desperately to regain its footing in the slippery mud. And here comes more elephants on their way to join this happy mud party. Oh, and it's a little one. Oh, I love watching baby elephants do this. I wonder if perhaps we should reposition. Maybe try and move this leadwood tree out of our way. Comes a massive female bringing up the rear. Oh, what fun on a hot afternoon. The only way to deal with it. Little one. Uh-oh, slippery, slippery. The little baby's feet splaying out. Hasn't quite got the weight advantage of the adults, and not quite the trunk coordination either. Somewhat piddly attempts at tossing mud. Oh, shame. Shame, it's thirsty as well. Oh, photobomb. By one other very muddy elephant. And that's definitely going to put them in a slightly better mood. Much cooler now. Thick mud takes a lot longer to dry than just using water, which means that the cooling effect lasts for even longer. Another nice explanation behind an elephant's wrinkly skin. Traps all of that mud there, and that means in turn that it takes even longer to dry. Oh, look, it's playing with a bone on the right there. Or was. Decided that's not terribly interesting. Kick. Ha. Seems as though Gary Main is the place to be. Just bear with me one moment. I just want to give Henry an update. Oh, hold on. Andrew's doing it for me. Little baby still wants to go in and have a proper mud wallow, but is too nervous to do that without Mom's direct supervision. Look at this. Oh, let's go over across to Brent, see what he's got for you.
Look at that. It is the biggest male leopard in the Sabi Sands. Hi, guys. So I'm being mocked by the vehicle next to me, guys. But don't worry, I don't mind. So the Anderson male leopard. So Aaron in New Zealand guessed what it was. It was indeed Mr. Anderson. Now he does have a killer around here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. But it looks like he's on the move. He might be going for a drink. There's the kill. Oh, he's got himself a big warthog. I mean, literally, he looks like a lioness. He's so big. This is so exciting. This is only my second sighting ever, and Jeandre's second sighting ever of a Mr. Anderson. I'm going to stop now, and you can just see that beast walk through the bush. Where's my camera, Jeandre? Where's my camera? I have to take pictures of Mr. Anderson. So he is a really, really big male leopard, pushing probably around 90 kilos. So close on 200 pounds. And this is the furthest to the east I've ever seen him. Oh, he's decided he's going to lie down. Look at that, isn't that incredible? I'm just going to wait a little bit. We're going to get a little bit closer shortly. But as I said, there's going to be quite a lot of pressure on the sighting, so we don't have too much time. That's why I was rushing here, and then the Salala pride popped out. Now, this, as I keep saying, for me, October is by far the best month of the year to come on safari in Africa. The game viewing is absolutely fantastic. If we just think about what we've seen this month, and how frequently we've seen the big cats this month. It's absolutely incredible. Chai Connie says this is her first time seeing Mr. Anderson. Can I tell her about him? Of course I can. This is only my second time. He's got very distinctive eyes. Slightly slitted. There we go. He's on the move again. He might be just heading for a drink, but he probably won't leave that warthog carcass too long, in case something else might want to steal it, like a vulture. That's a big adult warthog. Even a big male, I think he could probably hoist it, but he's just being lazy. Now, this big boy apparently was born in Mala Mala to the Nkobuzwan female. Probably quite far from, he's quite far from his natal range, and he's growing into definitely the biggest leopard I've ever seen in the Sabi Sands. Now that used to belong to the Camp Pan male, that title, but I personally think after looking at photographs of them at the same age, I think Mr. Anderson is bigger than the Camp Pan male. He's gone into a little thicket. I'm just going to try to scoop around it. And I'm trying to think, he's probably about 8 or 9 years old now. When he arrived up here in the northern Sabi Sands, he was very, very skittish. He is still not the most relaxed leopard, so we always just go a little bit easy. Well, the second time I've seen him, but from when I speak to the guys, just go a little bit easy around him. And as I said, it looks like he might be heading straight to Arathusa camp for a drink. There we go, he's going to stop now. Now, Samina would like to know why he's called Anderson. Samina, I would be lying if I said I did. I'm afraid I do not. You can maybe ask Ryan, who's in the sighting with me, why he's called Anderson. Here he is. Now, let's just have a good look at him. You can see that massive head and dewlap. And you can see those slightly slanted eyes. Very, very distinct of this male leopard. I hope you guys are getting some screenshots. I have to snap away. This is, as I said, the second time I've ever seen him. And the first time he was lying down. He was too lazy to even stand up for us. You can see that big head, that big neck. Now, Liz would like to know, how do I compare his size to Tingana? I'd say he's a little bit taller and a little bit heavier. I just need to be on the radio for a second. Can you still see him, John? I'll just move so you can see him. Ryan, as soon as any of your guys want to get in here, I'm happy to make space. Okay, thanks a lot. Perfect. Cool, perfect. He's heading into some thick areas, and of course our vehicles are different. Ryan's in a much longer vehicle, we're in a short vehicle, so we're going to go on the area where it's a little bit more difficult to move in our short vehicle, and Ryan's going to go on the one side, so we're going to keep with them. There could be a little pan or something in the little dry river system up ahead that he's heading to have a drink at. So Ryan's kindly given us some extra time here. He says he'll let us know, but he's happy for us to stay, so very exciting. Oh, hello big boy. I didn't even see him go down. He's just stopped in the shade. Now Roger is wondering if he's sired any known leopards. He's thought to have sired Twany, whose Salahesh is current cub. Well, she's not really a cub anymore. She's over a year old. Oh, bless you, Mr. Anderson. Now, as I said, asking about the size difference between him and Tingana, his bodily size is a lot bigger. I'd say probably Tingana weighs about 80 kilograms. And Anderson probably 90 to 95 kilograms. He is an absolute beast. He's mated with Karula, Shadow, Tandi, Salahesh. I think that's all I know of. And there's obviously Moyo and other females that occur to the west of us. And he's originally pushed Tingana out of what was his territory. I'm just going to idle forward a tiny bit. That good fusion there. There we go. So, as I said, he's pushed Tingana further to the east, and Tingana then pushed Mvula. Mvula has pretty much lost most of his territory, and that whole scenario started with the Anderson male coming into Tingana's territory. Now, he seems to be an expert warthog killer. Well, a lot of male leopards are, but he takes very big, very big warthogs. Now, as I just mentioned, he's mated with Karula, Shadow, Tandi, and Marjorie in Texas was wondering that. So it's even possible that he could have sired little Hosana and Shungile. But, as I said, it's almost impossible to know the male lineage of leopards without genetic study. You can see his very distinctive face. So he's quite hot and uncomfortable with his full belly. Very difficult light at the moment. Oh, look at that. Sorry about all the clicks, guys. This is the first time I've got to get any photos of the Anderson. Hopefully I'm not too excited that they're all blurry. Yes, if they were blurry, Eggsy would be very proud. Now those lions were not far from here. Okay, so we have Eggsy, who's in final control, says, if I've got any blurry photographs, much applause. Now, Safari Ginny is wondering, what is Mr. Anderson's spot pattern? It's difficult to see, but let's have a look on the monitor. He looks like a 3-4, but let me check on the camera when he's not panting. It's a 3-3 no, it's a 3-4. You see a little spot up higher, and a 3. So right 3. Always start with the right hand side. Was there 2 little spots there on the top? What do you think, Andre? Spots or dirt? Dirt. I'd say he's a 3-4. You can almost see, you see his tongue there. We always talk about how rough a big cat's tongue is. You can actually see those little rasps on his tongue. And look how beautiful his canines are. You can see he's in prime condition. There's no cracks in those teeth. I mean, his incisors are even pearly white. And see, he does have the odd scratch and scar, and that is very common with male leopards. But he is an absolute beast. Very exciting to have been able to see him this afternoon. I said we'll stay as long as we possibly can. You can see he's not so happy October decided to come back with a vengeance. Emma says she's just joined the Safari Live family and just at the right time. So many wonderful sightings recently. I'm just very happy we got the Anderson. He doesn't look like he really cares whether we found him or not. What do you think, Jean-Andre? He looks a bit indifferent to us. Happy? Yes, no, I think that's definitely to do with the heat. He's quite a pale male. And there was another very famous, very big pale male in the Sabi Sands in the last 15 or so years. He was called Paleface, is our nickname for him. And he was the Manuletti male. Ah, so I thought he was born to Ngobozwan female. Apparently not. He was born to Mashapere female, who's the daughter of White Cloth. He's a very famous leopard from Mala Mala. Now, White Cloth Open Area is on the boundary of the northern Sabi Sands and of Mala Mala. It's what's that? It's Little Hoffman's. It's on Hoffman's boundary, which is below Little Gowrie, and so a reasonable distance from his natal area. But he went all the way west first before coming back through Ottawa. And he is a magnificent, magnificent male. Now, I've been regaled with many stories by my friends who see him more regularly out here, of him beating up hyenas. And he had a warthog kill stolen by hyenas, and he charged in and beat the hyenas up and took his kill back. He does look like a bit of a gangster. What do you think? So Eddie was actually wondering about that. Now, of course, Eddie, he's not going to take on a massive group of hyenas, but one or maybe two, he would definitely try put a bit of fight on. I mean, we've even seen Mvula do that with Jamie. We've seen Konyuma do it. Isn't this just spectacular? He is massive. Oh, chasing flies. And his teeth are in perfect condition. Still chasing flies. And the flies are quite bad. That's probably one of the reasons he's not lying next to that carcass, is because of the flies. So, Kristen in North Carolina is wondering whether eye contact bothers the animals. Well, I'll show you. Not at all. And animals' eyes work, it's very bright out here, very differently to what ours do. So movement is what will bother them more than eye contact. So they see in sort of various shades of grey, and they don't see detail like we do. So what they'll pick up is movement rather than the detail of. They will never, probably with me wearing a cap like this, he won't even see my eyes. Now, also the way he's seeing the vehicle, I'm sure you can see the movement occasionally that Jandre makes, and Jandre is very good. He doesn't move fast, and neither do any of us sitting near him. That would annoy him. And the vehicle smells like petrol, and it's a big thing, but it doesn't smell like a potential threat or potential food. And vehicles have only been around for 100 years, and you must remember that animals are very instinctive. So he's had 1 million years of instinct telling him what to be scared of and what not to. Of course, in the beginning, quite often animals are scared, but if you keep habituating them and you drive carefully and respectfully, and you don't over push them, they can become very relaxed. Now, this guy used to run from cars, and now you can see we're sitting 7-8 feet from him, and he's just sleeping in the shade. And you can see very hot, salivating quite heavily. Now, I'm trying to see, can we zoom more, Jandre? Oh no, he's turned his head. Now when he turns his head, I just want to look at the back of the teeth to see if you can still see those little hard ridges. And it doesn't matter. I don't think he's going to turn his head again. It's not a very attractive look for you, big man. Actually, I have to get a picture of that. The Anderson in all his glory. Okay, Jandre, enough now. Well, Julia in Houston says he looks very big except for his feet. Now, his feet are big, Julia. I've had to track them, and his tracks are definitely bigger than Tingana's. I think it just could be the way he's lying at the moment. Oh, he's massive. Now, Chai Connie's asking, because he is so big, does that make him a little bit less efficient at climbing trees? Well, having not spent as much time with this leopard as a lot of the other leopards, I can't say for sure, although according to Tristan and the other guys up here, apparently he climbs like a demon and takes massive kills up trees. So it just depends on the individual. And as we see, Tingana doesn't seem to be the most adept in trees, but I think it just could be situational, and I don't think he's more affected by size than Tingana or Mvula, for example. There we go. I actually remember seeing those photographs. Vicky says he managed to haul a young giraffe up a tree, so I think he's probably okay at those tree things. Yes, I agree with you, Vicky. Okay, guys. We're going to have to love and leave the Anderson for now. Lots of other guys are wanting to come in here now, and we have been lucky enough to spend this long with him. Hopefully he'll be around tomorrow as well. Okay, well, he's got his back to us. He's done with us. We're done with him. And we're going to move on, see what else we can find. There we go. One last glance over the shoulder before we leave. And so while we leave, oh, look away. That's perfect time to go see what Jamie's been up to.
How exciting is that? I still haven't got to see Anderson, and it's definitely something I am really looking forward to. I'm just going to pull over so we can have a look at the zebra while we chat about what we've been up to over the last few minutes whilst Brent's been chilling out with Mr. Anderson. We have been back to check on Karula's Dacre kill. So, for those of you who missed that, hello, no, don't panic. It's a zebra with muddy socks. Those of you who missed that update, Brent had Karula kill a Dacre on one of our live sunset safaris. She then set off to go and fetch the cubs after popping it in a large jackalberry tree. And when we found her the next morning, she was on an impala kill, not too far. There we go. Relaxed a little bit. Not too far from where she had the impala kill. I'll continue that story in a moment. I'm really enjoying these muddy stockings. Look at that. Somebody's been wandering into one of the pans, probably to go and have a drink. Zebra, unlike buffalo and elephant, the animals that we've been with recently, they tend not to roll all the way in the mud. They love to roll in the dirt, and they'll roll all the way over on their backs, which most animals won't do. So what I mean by that is they'll start on one side and roll across and over. Other animals tend not to. Oh, look at that. Somebody's had a lucky escape. Oh, that to me, and I think we're often quick to jump to conclusions where zebra are concerned, that to me looks like this zebra had an escape from a lion. Don't you agree? Those look like claw marks. That looks like an animal trying to grab it and sliding down. Generally, or often, huge scars on zebras' backs and flanks are actually usually caused by other zebra. They're quite aggressive animals with members of the same herd and with any intruders into their peaceful life. But that, I think, has come from a fortunate escape. You're looking at one of the luckiest zebra on Djuma, and that could even have been an escape from the incredible Nkuhumas. We did hear zebra alarm calls a couple of days ago, although those wounds are not a couple of days old. Those are a lot older than that. Well done, zebra. I think you were very fortunate. And then, of course, with its cohort of oxpeckers, who are looking quite comical at the moment, because they are hot, so they're panting furiously. I mean, you can imagine, it's a hot day as it is. Now they're on an animal that's exuding body heat at the same time. So they're really very hot, and they do look as though they're laughing at the best joke that anyone's ever told. Or perhaps the zebra just told a joke, but I think it's probably more likely that they are feeling quite warm. Look, seriously. Wait for it. Oh, here comes the next one. He's still laughing. Here's the other one. Ah, see, the joke's funny again. Every now and again stops thinking about the joke and then remembers it and starts laughing again. The comedians of the bush, much like myself. No, definitely not. Right, we are going to leave the zebra, and the reason we're going to leave the zebra is we've got quite a time-sensitive or movement-sensitive sighting on our hands. Mvula has popped out once again, and this time Wiem, and I think we owe Wiem a huge thank you for this, has been working hard on Jigger to hopefully improve our ability to go to places like Sydney's Dam. I don't know what mumbo-jumbo magic he did, but he's done something, and now Jigger's signal is remarkably improved. Bravo to Wiem, who's not only a good cameraman, but very talented cameraman, but he's also very clued up about things that I have absolutely no about how they work. No idea about how they work. Wiem says don't count your chickens before they hatch yet. We haven't got there yet. Aha! Right, back to the story that I got disrupted by the zebra and the laughing oxpeckers. Right, Karula's daycare. Oh look, he's also told a joke. Perhaps he overheard the oxpeckers. Karula's daycare kill, was up in the jackalberry, and she caught that impala on her way to go and fetch it. I went back to the daycare earlier this afternoon. I took the whole crew to go and see Karula and her cubs, and I went to go and check on the daycare kill, and there was nothing except one very guilty-looking tawny eagle sitting on the branch. Liam and myself have just gone for a short walk to double-check the area, and the daycare is still there, and with only about 10% of it has been eaten by that bird. And I mean specifically that bird, not that species of bird. I mean that tawny eagle that we're looking at right now. Because as I came round the corner earlier, we interrupted it mid-gulp, and it's taken off and flown to the top of the boerbean on Vulture's Nest. I've been tracking it the whole time, and I lost track of it, and there it is again. Quite a couple of fluffy patches of white on it. And tawnies come with a lot of different colour variations. In this case, this is probably a juvenile, although you do get morphs with quite a lot of white on them. That joke must have been hilarious. All the birds are laughing. Let's go to Mbula. I'm quite a long way off, and I'm terrified he's going to disappear behind the damn wall. Sorry. A stable fly just bit the bottom of my foot, and it's really itchy. Rightio. We will come back to Karula, by the way, but there's no visual of her at the moment. So an interesting question while we trundle along. And he says, please tell him what we get up to in between our two safaris. It depends on the season. So in winter our days are not too long, because obviously we don't have to get up. We get up with the sun, so we usually end up only getting up at about 5:30 in the morning in the middle of winter, which is pretty manageable, and finishing our safaris at around 6. So it's quite a shortish day. So in summer we get up at about 4:30 or 4 o'clock, and then our days are slightly longer, so sometimes we have a nap, but a lot of the time our time is filled with different things. My time, for example, if we have some possibility of taking the crew out, those of whom that can't get out to go and see the animals every day as we do, I'll take them out on a little bumble to go see lions or leopards. And then Brent and myself will spend a good portion of our day doing research on the different questions that have popped or occurred to us during the day, and just generally trying to supplement our knowledge. Our camera crew do an enormous amount of logging of footage. As I said, VM spent a great deal of yesterday, and actually after the drive yesterday evening, sorting out amps and all kinds of other mysterious things that I don't understand. Our content crew have all kinds of meetings that they have to do, and all kinds of things that go on behind the scenes. So there's lots and lots of work to be done. There's a lot of work that goes into keeping these live safaris running, and it's not just done during the 3-hour morning and 3-hour afternoon safaris. There's a huge amount that goes on. Occasionally we make time to go for a swim in the swimming pool at Inge's house, which we haven't actually done in a very long time. I think we need to repeat that more often. But as we've mentioned before, we're on a bit of a skeleton crew at the moment, so that hasn't happened recently because there just hasn't been time. There's an enormous amount of effort that goes in. And then, of course, what we also do twice a week usually is we have feedback meetings. So essentially, it's an opportunity to see where we can improve our live safaris, how we can make them better for you, what we could have done differently in certain situations. I mean, it's not necessarily just criticism, it's also you did that well, or let's try this next time we start, so those sorts of things. That's what we get up to on our in-between. The one thing I know I've got to do now, in between our next tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon's sunrise and sunset safari, is change all of the new tyres that we've just bought for Wendy and put them on Jigger because Wendy's died. Having done it all for Wendy, we're going to do it all again for Jigger. Those sorts of things will keep us busy. Right, we're going to race across to Mbula. While we do, let's head across to Brent, who's found another bird of prey. What's it doing on the ground?
I think it could be eating a baby plover or lapwing on the edge of the Arathusa airstrip. I can't really see too well. Well, this is an interesting looking bird. It's eating the eggs. It's eating plover eggs. Look at that. It's found the plover's nest. It's broken open the eggs. Are we on full? Oh dear. You can hear the plovers mournfully wailing close by. If you actually look a little bit to the right, Chandra, it's probably Mom just behind the bird of prey. I'm not giving away what bird of prey it is because Chandra said, don't tell me. I want to guess. So would you like to guess with Chandra which eagle is this that is eating the plover's eggs? There's the crowned lapwing mother. Oh, I can see, look at that, you can just see the eggshells there. Now if he flies away, I might want to collect those for my collection of things. We might have to get one for James in the tent. So if you know what eagle this is, send your answers through to questions@WildEarthTV or use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Now, one of the distinguishing features is look at those long legs. And how far the feathers extend. I think this could be the first one of the season as well. That's a big clue, Chandra, to what eagle this is. Now you can see it's got very baggy feathers around its legs. It is a true eagle, an Aquila eagle. There's the poor mom and dad. Which the eagle might be about to take off, I think. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at that! Attack now! It's a bit late, lapwings. Wow, isn't this incredible? Oh, there he goes. A bit late. Now, there you go. They could still bomb him again. No. They're going to go check their nest. They might bomb me though, but I want to go get those eggs or those egg shells. So now there could still be, there's a couple of lapwings that nest along the edge of this airstrip, but oh, go to the left a little bit. A little bit more. A little bit more to the other two. There. Okay. Sorry, I thought I saw a baby in the grass, but it wasn't. So back. Now that's a very tricky eagle. That one we've seen there. So I wonder if we've got some serious birders out there who are going to be able to tell us what it is. And he's still sitting next to the airstrip. Right. Oh, my ear. Oh dear. That's why I was wondering why it was so quiet. I got so excited I pulled my earpiece out. Okay, I think I want to try and get the Well done, Safari, Ginny and Joan. It is indeed a steppe eagle. It's migrated from the steppes of Russia, from Chernobyl, can you believe? Also the steppes of Mongolia, and come to summer here in sunny South Africa. Now I want to go see where that nest is, see if we can get any nice pieces of eggshell for the tent. Make James happy, give him something else to look at under the microscope. Now, Musical in Colorado is wondering, why would the lapwings put their nests right out in the open like that? Well, they are ground nesting species. They're actually quite successful. Those are normally very well camouflaged. What I think happened is the eagles saw the mother on the nest, and because quite often they'll stand off away from the nest. They'll use all sorts of tricks to try and lead predators away from nests, pretend they've got broken wings, and then you also saw them, they will try attack much larger predators from time to time as well. Clever steppe eagle. Okay, I'm going to go wander across there, see if I can find any pieces of those eggs. And we don't drive across airstrips, not a good idea. Might get taken out by an aircraft. Well, we know you don't drive across airstrips while it's light in the bush. Okay, so I think we're going to jump back across on board with Jamie while I go search for those eggshells. I will show them to you once I've found them.
Well, Brent heads off to investigate a very sad scene. Shame. Can't help feeling sorry for the poor things. I'm just listening to the Game Drive channel at the same time, find out what's happening with Mbula. We're trundling along the northern boundary, and it feels like a long time since I've been on Buffelshoek Cutline properly. This is where we saw those two, speaking of little ground nesting birds and their offspring, this is where we saw the three bronze-winged courser chicks on our explorations that Via managed to spot. And if you missed them, they were utterly adorable. They were like little bobblehead figures, heads far too big for their bodies. I'd show you a picture in my bird book, but I've lost my bird book. I took it out of the car in case it rained, and I'm not entirely sure where I've put it. I'll have to get one of the other four out of our room, out of our library. Let's see if there's anything happening at Tambuti Dam. Apparently there are lots of hyenas spread out in Buffelshoek. Obviously attracted to the prospect of Mbula's kill, perhaps. I'm thinking some of them might be around mud wallows. I'm just still so desperate to have a chance to see our hyena clan back once more. Since they abandoned us and moved to the Manuleti. I got so excited the other morning when we heard a hyena calling right from the den site. And I went and checked both dens, the Galago and the Mvubu Road den. No luck there. They obviously haven't returned to us just yet. They'll come back, I think, when the Nkuhumas are a little older. Nkuhuma cubs. Oh, he's on the damn wall.
Yeah,
Oh,
but he's at that ticket. Not here, very ticket. Just very close to the dam wall itself.
there's zebra here, but we're just gonna go. Sorry.
Okay.
Just in case he goes over the damn wall, because if he's in the damn wall, he's probably sitting in the sun. Which means he's gonna want to move to the shade. Oh, so many zebra. Lots of little foals.
Yeah, I think so. Booger as well.
So torn. So torn. Look at this gorgeous little foal. Okay. No, let's go. Sorry, little foal, you are gorgeous. But we've got a leopard that we haven't seen in a very, very long time. Ah! Of course. All the animals coming out of the woodwork now. There must be about 40 zebra here. Alright guys, I'm just going to go a little bit slowly so that we don't startle these buffalo as we go through. Hi guys. Another buffalo herd. It's amazing. I've seen so many of them recently. Despite the presence of the Nkuhumas. Hello. Okay, sorry, we are going to Mbula. We have a question about how we go about studying this for a career, and I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch the name. TAP RSA, is that correct? And then presumably, I don't know if the RSA, perhaps that means that you are South African. You were saying that you'd love to do this for a career, and do you have to study to do it? Not necessarily a tertiary degree, so you don't have to study to be a guide in the sense that you have to go to university and study it. I, for example, studied law, which is, as you can see, going very well. My legal career has taken off in leaps and bounds. But you do have to, yes, you do have to study. And there are a number of different ways to go about training to do it, and you will have to pass a series of exams that you can set about writing and learning a little bit more about the things. You have to do a national qualification in order to do it, and from there you can progress up steadily in levels, and obviously it's all about the experience as well. Sorry, Impala, I see you. So yes, you do have to study if you are really keen on learning more about how you can go about doing this, because I really enjoy getting through questions like that, and I really would encourage those of you who would love to do this to go about and do it. If you have the means, if the opportunity is available for you, do it. If you think you'll be passionate about it, I cannot tell you, I don't think there's a single career that is as amazing as this truly is. So yes, absolutely, if you want further details, if you are serious about being keen, you can send through your details to Final Control. Please do that on the email address rather. You can email through to questions at WildEarthTV. Anything else can be addressed through the hashtag as well, but sending through an email will then be forwarded to me, and I will offer you up a little bit more advice in a situation where I can sit down and discuss it with a bit more time. So if you are really keen, and that applies to any of you out there that would like to make a career of this, let me know and we can chat a little bit more about it. Okay, we're just going to stop here at this herd of buffalo so I can chat on the Game Drive channel before I go racing in, just to make sure we can go in. Shame. Some of the buffalo herds that have come through here have had it worse than others. Yo! And very, very skinny looking individuals. Tax.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you mind if I try and come and have a look at Mbula from the cut line, see if we can see him?
No, that's it. Oh, but yeah, he just beyond the dam wall. I don't know, maybe he might come out. I left Henry there, but yeah, it was just another part beyond the dam wall. But yeah, you're welcome to come to the boundary there, no problem. It's also camping out there.
Copy that, thanks very much. Oh, it sounds like he's just ducked behind the damn wall. We were talking about our poor skinny buffalo, and the fact that the drought has had a tremendous effect on some of them. Some of them seem to be healthier looking than others. I think perhaps those that managed to get to the northern parts of Kruger that had a little bit more rain than we did over the last rainy season. And even now, with the fresh green grass, not quite fully recovered. And some won't recover at all, particularly the older members and the younger members of the buffalo. And Hayley, let's go a little bit further forward, and I think we're going to encounter a whole herd of buffalo at Sydney's Dam by the sounds of it. Hayley, you wanted to know how you can tell the difference between a male and a female buffalo. You were wondering if there is any difference in color. In color, no, not so much. Some of the bigger, older bulls tend to be a darker brown, almost black in color, whereas the cows are generally brown. But you've got to be careful with that because you get young bulls that are also brown as well. So I'm going to show you, but hopefully I'm going to be able to show you with a view of the animals themselves. So Hayley, as we're presented with this rear view of the buffalo, and actually this is a perfect example because there's a young bull there. Oh dear, going to be tricky. There is a young bull there walking second from the back. If you have a look, one of the big ways is the obvious way. Big difference between males and females. If you can have a look at that one passing on the right of your screen, it's got testicles and a penis sheath that sticks out on the belly. And that is absent in the females. Even with lactating females, nipples between the back legs, the testicles are still far more prominent. And Hayley, I'm going to keep answering, but I'm going to try and get to Sydney's Dam because obviously these chaps are going into Buffelshoek. Hopefully there'll be more buffalo there. One of the other big ways is to have a look at their horns. Now typically, even that young male hasn't yet got to the point that he's developed it properly. I'm just pulling over for a vehicle as well. So that young bull hasn't quite got to the point of developing his horns properly, but the cows do not have a well-developed boss. In other words, at the base, there he goes, at the base of their horns, and they typically have fur in between the left horn and the right horn. When you look at a male buffalo, the boss, which is such a brilliant name for it, I really think it is, the boss. The boss that sits at the base of the horns is very thick and joined together. Just letting this gentleman know he can come through. Shame that was so polite of him. Hello.
Hi guys.
How's it? Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Yeah.
You on your way back in?
Yeah, just with the girls speak today.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. All right. Enjoy. Perfect. Thanks. We're going to race down that side. Cheers. I don't know who that was. It's terrible. I recognize his face, can't remember his name. Oh dear. Anyway, so yes, the boss of the male buffalo is far more developed than the female buffalo. So those are the big ways. But as I said, the obvious way, the usual way that you would tell difference between male and female is relatively obvious in buffalo. It's not so obvious, for example, in, let's say, an elephant, where you have to look at other physical differences between them. Here we go. This should make life a lot easier, Hayley. We can talk about this properly with good examples. Hello, buffalo. Okay, I'm trying to go slowly to give our signal a good chance. There we go. So we've got this massive buffalo herd gathering around Sydney's Dam. Okay, so then we have quite a young buffalo on the left, which is going to be difficult because if it's a young buffalo, a sub-adult buffalo, you might have to look for the obvious differences as well. So there it's a female because it has a smooth belly. Let's see if we can find an older cow. There we go. That's a full-grown buffalo cow. You can see how it's got tufts of hair on the base of its horns, where the two horns meet in the middle. Tufts of hair, and it's not particularly well developed. It's got a bump on its belly, but that is from where the umbilical cord attached. So that little bump, that's a tiny little bump. Oh, and a nasty injury on its backside. couple of welts there. Here comes another adult female. Now let us try and find a bull. There we go. VM's done a good job of finding a bull. It's the one at the back. You can see, look at the horns of the buffalo on the left. Those are all cows. And behind him, now look at the horns of the buffalo at the back with the ox pickers on his back. Oh, he's playing. He's gone shy. There, look there. Okay, so he's got a little bit of hair, but that's because he's quite a young buffalo. You see how much more prominent? Ah, perfect. Female on the left, male on the right. See, this is perfect for our purposes. See how much more developed the bones are around the boss or the base of the buffalo's skull. Very, very clear difference. And then if this female shifts out of the way slightly, then you can see the penis sheath on his belly. Much, much larger than the small hernia bumps or the small belly button bumps that the females have, always with a tuft of hair on the end. Oh, there you go. Difference between a male and a female buffalo. Perfectly demonstrated by the buffalo very kindly standing side by side. Oh, now we've got this little one here. I don't want to actually go drive forward while she's still in front of me. Let's wait for her to rejoin the rest of the herd or to move past us. She's going to be on her own. Now look at this. This buffalo's in better condition than the others. Still not great, actually, now that I look at her hip bones. Shame. It's been a very rough ride for these animals. Bulk grazers, in other words, they're not really capable of processing trees and leaves and branches, which has meant there's been no alternative food source for them. They do occasionally browse on leaves, but it hasn't been the easiest time at all. And the other thing is, of course, they're much larger than the other bulk grazer, which is a zebra, for example, which means they've got more weight to sustain. And generally, buffalo tend to need to feed off quite good quality grass. They just haven't had that option while they've been going through this drought and through our dry patch. Okay, everybody, let's give it a go. Let us try at least figure out where Mvula is so that we can try again later. Perhaps he'll go for a drink. Been teetering on this for days at a time. Well, actually since yesterday. Here's the rest of the buffalo. Coming streaming down to have a drink. Oh, actually, I think they might have already had their drink and they're splitting off away from the rest of the group. I really enjoy coming to Sydney's Dam and getting those sort of long-distance visuals. I'm going to see if I can try and work out where exactly Mvula is. I'm going to see if I can try and spot Andrew. Maybe we'll get lucky, maybe we won't. We'll just have to keep trying. In the meantime, let's go across and see what Brent's up to on Arathusa.
So we're on the Arathusa airstrip. The wind is howling. We have fortunately taken refuge from the beating African sun in some shade. Now, under normal circumstances, I would just pop this on the dashboard, but the wind's so strong I'm going to have to just keep my finger on it. There we go. So, you won't believe how long it took us to find that plover's egg. We actually had to play back the footage, and Jandra had to go meter left, right, right, to find it. That's how incredible that camouflage is when it's on the ground. So there were 3 eggs, unfortunately for the plovers. All 3 eggs were opened by that eagle. I'm just going to try it. Oh, the wind. And very, very delicate. So here you can see the inside. Now, it was amazing. Even in that time it took me to find the nest. I'm going to swap out eggs, Andre, just so you know. A huge amount of ants had already got there. And some of them got stuck in that, I suppose, egg yolk. And they weren't able to get out. Look at that. Oh, there's one dude. So, I mean, that was what? 2 or 3 minutes. They're already about 300 little ants climbing in there, and some of them, of course, as you can see, got stuck in that egg yolk. There's one dude there who looks like he's just eating away. Happy ant? Probably not. He could be stuck as well. Or it's his best friend drowning in the yolk in front of him. But isn't that very cool? So, well, I'm just going to put those very carefully into a safe spot in my bigger case so they don't get broken. And I've got a nice little baggie for them. I think that should work quite well. Theoretically for sunglasses, but it'll work for plover eggs as well. So many little pieces. I want to keep them all. I'm going to give James the smallest piece. Keep the biggest piece for myself. I'm only joking, of course. I'll give James 2 small pieces. Okay, so what I'm doing is just jump on the radio quickly. I'm waiting for a chance to go see the lions. And as I said, it's quite busy here. So once we've had a look at the Tsalalas, I'm probably going to head back towards Djuma, maybe try and see if Karula's still around, or the Nkuhumas. And there's a lot of vehicles cycling through these sightings at the moment. So, well, it was really great. How exciting was it to see Anderson? Roy?
Here we go.
Oh, sorry about that. Roy, can you confirm lineup for Tsalalas, please? Copy, thanks very much. I'll see you there. Yay! So we're not far from them, and I was actually what one calls dawdling, and dawdling worked out quite well for us today because we got to see the first steppe eagle of the season, and actually got to see something I've never seen before. I've never seen a steppe eagle eating a lapwinged eggs before. Isn't that absolutely incredible? That's the absolutely amazing thing about we're live. We literally do not know whether the Salala Pride is going to jump on Jandre and take him off the back of the vehicle in the next 10 minutes. I don't think they're going to do that. Jandre seems to have washed his hair recently. Otherwise, it's a strong possibility. Sorry, comms are a bit bad this side. I think it says Love Nita would like to know whether the Tsalalas are in the Nkuhumas territory. And no, they're not. The Nkuhumas, north and west of here, and the Tsalalas, this is part of their territory, from here down to the Sand River. Now, can you believe, I used to see that Salala Pride was the main pride of lions I used to see in 2005, 2006, in around the Sand River. They're named after a low-felt gardenia tree and a place called Salala Pan on Mondolozi. Now, Salala Pan is a beautiful natural pan where there's quite a lot of low-felt gardenias. And the original tailless lioness, and she's got no tail, therefore her name was the tailless lioness. I know other people called her different things, but I only knew her as tailless. And she was one of my favorite lions at the time, and the original tailless, and the grandmother or great grandmother of these little guys here. Now the amazing thing is her daughter, who is the main lioness here, is also tailless. Now there are a couple of lionesses with this pride, so there could be, she might not be here. I know there's a theory that one of them has cubs, so I'm just waiting for one. There we go. So pop in here behind Ryan. Are you happy with that, Jean-André? So Ryan's just telling me when he arrived here, the lions were lying under the marula tree. If we come out a little bit there, genre. And now this happens with lions quite often. You see where Ryan's car is? The shade from Ryan's car, the lions keep moving closer and closer to lie in the shade. And that's how relaxed they are around these vehicles. Look at that, there we go, the young Salala boys. Sachs would like to know, would the young males fight with the Birminghams? Not at this age. Pat. Sorry, Pat. I know for some reason with this wind our communication seems to be a bit iffy at the moment. Now Pat was wondering, would they fight with the Birminghams? At this age, the Birminghams were in South Africa. There's a wonderful little description called a snortklap. And a snortklap basically means if you hit something so hard, all the snot comes out of them. Now that's what the Birmingham boys would do to these little boys if they happen to even think about fighting with them. The Birmingham boys are in their prime, and they are well experienced at waging lion warfare, whereas the young Tsalalas are probably good at beating up their moms and little sisters. And not quite in the same level of the Birmingham boys. I'd say they're probably 2.5 to 3 years old. As I said, we don't spend much time with this pride. We don't see them too often. And so it's... And one of the reasons they're up here at the moment is possibly because the Matimbas are down around the Salala Pan area. And the Matimbas would do the same thing to those little boys, even though the Matimba males are quite old. Those young boys are still no match for them just yet. Remember, if you are new and you've just found us, we are sitting next to lions live in the African bush. You can send me your questions through to #SafariLive on Twitter or questions at WildEarthTV. Now we're sitting with the Salala pride, and I'm just trying to think. No, it's not the first pride of lions I ever saw in the Sabi Sands. The first pride of lions I ever saw in the Sabi Sands are no longer. They were called the Castleton Pride. They were wiped out by the Mapoho. So the tailless lioness is just lying where we can't see her. I'll try and move a little bit later. For now, we're in the best spot. Oh, head up. Now they look reasonably well fed. Apparently they caught a buffalo in Shirley's not that long ago. Now, I just mentioned the reason that Salala Pride is this far to the north, although they traditionally do come up into this area, is because the Matimba males that were pushed by the Birminghams are now to the south. And Nat.Geo was wondering that. So the Tsalalas have been just to the south of us quite a bit, and also to the west, outside of what would be traditionally their range. And the reason for that is those young males. Now, if they didn't have those young males, they would probably accept the Birmingham boys as the latest conquerors of their area. Now, they're still trying to ensure these young males go off to independence, which should happen quite soon. You'll probably find these females are going to start coming to estrus and will start mating with the Matimbas relatively soon. But while these boys are not independent, these lionesses are going to try and keep them as far away from the Birminghams and the Matimbas. I can't remember who's fathered or apparently fathered these ones. Could have been the Majingalans. I'm not 100% sure. Now, if you notice her eyes, she's also got amber eyes. Of course, it's not the amber-eyed in Kahuma. She's a very pretty girl. Now, I've seen, as I said, one of the first prides I saw when I was working on London, and they literally used to be in and around our staff village on many an occasion. The one morning, as you drive into Londolozi, before you get to the lodges, there's the boom gate, and there's a man with a clipboard in a little hut, and he gets there at about 7 o'clock every morning, and he's got one of those old stable doors on his little hut, and what he does is, because there are 5 lodges at Londolozi, is he sits there and he directs you down which road to go depending on which lodge you are going to. And on that particular morning, we came up to the little hut, and the bottom half was closed, the top half was open, and there was a Londolozi camp and 2 sets of eyes looking over the bottom, trying to reach for the top half of the door to close. And just outside were the original tailless lioness and her 2 daughters, which are these, I'm pretty sure these 2 females here, and 5 mapohos. And Shane, he had just arrived at work. He said he was just checking his arrivals for the day when the lions wandered up and flopped down in front of his hut. He said he just managed to close the bottom half, but he was scared the movement of closing the top half might attract their attention. Now, we had some interesting stories with those lions around, because they were in camp often. The funniest for me was with the Mapocho males. Now, as I said, Londolozi's got 5 small camps, or 5 camps spread out along about 2 kilometers of the Sand River, and there's a central kitchen, and then each of the lodges each have their own satellite kitchens. So a lot of the big prep and stuff is done by the head chef in the main kitchen, and then the final, obviously, cooking and stuff is done in the little satellite kitchens at the individual camps. And we were following the late great Mapocho male lions, and what happened was we came down into the entrance road to one of the lodges, and there came Connie. Connie was a very large lady. She was about my height, so very tall Shangaan lady, and very large Shangaan lady. And she was driving off to one of the camps to go deliver the food, and she came around the corner on her golf cart, and she was driving a golf cart, and we were trying to stop her from coming through in our game drive vehicles. And I've never seen it done, and I don't think it can be done to this day. Connie, who was driving the golf cart, drove, stopped, put one leg on the ground, turned the whole golf cart around, and sped off in the other direction with the Mapocho coming after her. We managed to drive a game drive vehicle in between the lions and the golf carts. Now, that was very funny. Connie, from that day on, refused to drive the golf cart after dark. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to drive a golf cart into a pride of 5 male lions after dark. So we will move just now. We'll just wait for Orion to make his way out, and we'll pop around. We'll see if we can see the tailless behind of the tailless female. Now, Paul says he thinks that Salala females are much bulkier than the Nkuhumas. That's difficult to say, Paul. I mean, they're all quite big lionesses. I mean, an average lioness is anything from 110, 115 kilograms up to 150. And it's so difficult without seeing them next to each other. It's very possible that it could be a bit bulkier. One of the young males. I can't see him from where I'm sitting. But his head's up. Yes, I think the only other person who's currently, actually with the Safari Live team who's seen the maporkas would be James. Of course, James and I were both at Londolozio at the same time, over 10 years ago. Sure, we're getting old. James faster though. Okay, there we go. We're going to pop around and move into a different spot shortly. Okay. Let's go see the bottom of the lioness, see if it's tailless. Do I detect the lack of a tail? I do. So there we go. Now, for me, it's very strange. I mean, a tailless lioness is not something you see very often. And to have two tailless lionesses in two consecutive generations, both losing their tails to hyenas, is very strange. So her mother and now her have both lost their tails to hyenas. Her mother had less of that, the stump, than that. It was almost completely flat. It does give her, when she's up and mobile, quite an interesting outline. It doesn't seem to affect her hunting prowess at all. She's still a very successful hunter. Isn't that incredible? Now, I think you were saying, Jamie, and you saw the Tsalalas not that long ago?
A week ago. About 100 meters over.
A week, yeah?
But they were off to it.
Ah, yes, I do remember. Well, nice of them to come visit. Let me reminisce about my days on the Sand River. Oh, it looked like, oh, there we go. Oh, roll over. Definitely more of a stump than her mother used to have. Okay, so we're still sitting there, look, and you can see there's still a little bit of an open wound. Not really an open wound, more of a scar tissue build-up. But as long as I've seen this lioness in the northern Sabi Sands, she has had a stump. Like, these boys have grown up incredibly. Now, the last time I remember seeing them was at Sydney's dam, where they went on a buffalo killing rampage. I think it was 4 buffalo in 3 days at Sydney's dam. And the local hyena population also gave them quite a hard time in that area, and sniffing the air, hoping for some buffalo. Oh, my comms in. Yes, they are. Is Kirsten talking to me? My comms are in. There we go. They're working now. Yes, I can hear you, Kirsten. Okay, so it looks like we're quite lucky. I thought there would be more pressure, so we can spend a little bit more time here. So we're going to sit patiently here, and let's sit this way so you can see a lion behind you. It's far better than just looking at me. What do you think, Sean? they all good here? Okay, great. There's a lion behind me, and we're live. No, I'm joking. You guys know all of this stuff, but as I was saying, it's quite nice to see animals we don't see frequently, like the Anderson male and the Tsalalas. It's a great part about being in an open system. I mean, if we include the whole Greater Kruger, Mozambique and Zimbabwe, it's 8.5 million acres that is purely dedicated to wildlife, which is incredible. Now, if you think about old world Europe, for example, the largest intact piece of temperate forest in old world Europe is in Poland, and it's less than 20,000 hectares. So what's that? 40,000 acres of actual intact wilderness, pristine wilderness in old world Europe. 40,000 acres. We're sitting in 8.5 million acre. It's outstanding. It's unbelievable. Now, back to our tailless wonder. Mary is wondering whether the loss of a tail affects her balance. Not that I've seen her, and from what I've heard and from watching her mother, she was an incredibly proficient hunter without that tail. And of course, it's always just one thing less for the hyenas to bite. That, of course, was a joke, as she did lose it to hyenas battling over her carcass.